Driving straight to our first conversation right here on Breakfast Now. Local herbs used for medication known as Agbo, the Yoruba name for herbal medicines, is a concoction prepared from a variety of herbs, and it is one of the most popular herbal preparations taken for various ailments, especially by native Yoruba people. Now, Agbo has been in existence for several years and has worked various wonders, all sorts of wonders for the human system and the human body. The use of this herbal medicine is prevalent amongst Nigerians because they believe it is efficient and it acts fast, it's resistant to pathogenic organisms, it's cheap, and it's readily available. But a Nigerian resident doctor recently teamed up with an investigative journalist to collect and test some samples of this widely used herbal concoction from different parts of the country. What they found in the result is harrowing. We'll get into the details of this shortly, but also Nigeria's National Drug Law Enforcement Agency says it has uncovered plans by those it describes as some unscrupulous elements to introduce a lethal synthetic opioid known as fentanyl, which is 100 times stronger than tramadol in the market. What is fentanyl and how dangerous is it? I'm glad to say we have joining us to look at this a public health expert, Dr. Tuyi Mebawondu, who joins us via Zoom from Lagos. Dr. Mebawondu, good morning to you, and thank you very much for your time.
Good morning. Good morning. It's a lovely day.
Yes, indeed.
Thank you for having me.
Yes, indeed. You're a Lagosian, so we'll start off with the Agbo story. Show you aware of what this is about. Have you used it before? And are you aware that there are some dangers associated with this herbal concoction? You're laughing.
Well, growing up in the rural areas, you can't run away from those things. You have a grandmother, especially those grandmothers, they're going to give you those things to drink. Yeah, because again, at those days, our health systems was trying to develop a lot of challenges. We're having, not enough doctors, not enough health services. And those people have to actually, revert to their local means of administering medication for fever, for convulsion, and all those stuff. Okay, yes, definitely at a younger age, I took those things. But honestly, as I moved from primary school to secondary school, and subsequently, I became advanced to those things. For no reason at all. It's not just because I became sophisticated. No, it's just because I'm just a stubborn person. My own, I would never put anything in my mouth anyhow. So as an adult, no. Right. But as a child, under the control of the parents and the grandmother especially, we had no choice than to take those things. But what we have seen is a return, is a huge return of Agbo into the main medication in the name of saying that, okay, we're promoting our local medication. But is that really a way to promote our local medication, honestly? Is that really a way to push your herbal medication in Nigeria? I have my reservation. Let me say that. I have my reservation. Because the first thing is that let's agree that a lot of pharmacopoeia, drugs with compounds came from roots, came from leaves, and all that kind of thing. We also are aware that there's no way you can have leaves without having some component of the leaves that may not be good to certain dose for your body. That's obvious, and you can even react to some of the components of the leaves. So now the question is that, what have we done so far to ensure that we deepen research, we standardize, we raise our level to that of Ayurveda in India or even Chinese herbal medicine, and move away from those unhygienic processes of producing those herbal products. And you look at it, if you have to do analysis, here you have to look for one plastic that has been, that maybe water has been used or the drink has been used, or PET bottle. You have to put all sorts of leaves and roots inside it and pour whether water or alcohol to extract the active ingredients from those leaves, or even boil. Now, you are not taking cognizance of the bacterial content of those products, the shelf life, how you are going to store it, the dosing, the side effects, the number of days you have to use those things. You just keep drinking and drinking and drinking. But nature does not work like that. There's limits for everything in nature. There's a limit from this point to this point you can take. Beyond that point, you're in trouble. Below that point, you're in trouble. That is how nature has set everybody up. So now the conversation for herbal medicine is actually to raise ourselves to that level of competence and competitions with Ayurvedic, competence and competition with Chinese herbal medicine. And then we can compete not just in Nigeria, but with autonomous medicine. We can also compete abroad with other local or traditional medicines as well. But with what we are doing now, we're not going anywhere. We're not going anywhere.
Okay, Doc, before Messi comes in, just quickly run through the list of chemicals they say they found or tested for and found in some of the samples, not all, some of the samples that they gathered. Naphthalene, which is popularly used to make the popular camphor balls that we used to chase away cockroaches and pests at home. We hear it destroys the blood cells and it has been linked to cancer. The doctor said acenaphthalene, which is used in making dyes, used in coloring clothes. Also, it says fluorine, which is gotten from coal, also found when you burn plastics or pipes made with polyvinyl chloride. It says anthracene, gotten from coal too, which is used in insecticides. It talks about phenanthrene, which is used to make plastics and explosive dyes and chemicals for killing pests. Triphenylene, which is gotten from coal, it also has a widespread use, it says, in the industries. The doctor says, these are the chemicals he talked about. So that's what can you say about these chemicals and their harmful nature?
You see the range of those chemicals in those in the herbal concoction or herbal things, and you see the effect of the chemical damaging to the blood making system, carcinogenic, possible damage to the liver and even the kidneys. Those are the chemicals we find there, and then those chemicals are consumed without limitations. And then we're not even doing analysis of those chemicals inside human body. That's one aspect of the whole thing. You are still talking about chemical. Chemical is an aspect of what is inside there. But again, there are also bacteria and germs, which they've not actually assayed, okay? And then I'm sure it's not going to be the same in all those drugs, all those concoctions, because they are the preparation, storage, and handling are quite different. And then you are not even looking at the top hygiene of those who prepare the concoction. So if you now see rising cases of anemia, cancer, liver diseases, and renal problems in Nigeria, you wonder, how did we get here? We have to actually be able to raise the standard. Nice. We need to embrace our herbal products. But we cannot embrace our herbal products haphazardly. We must be able to raise standard and look for our own big, hairy, audacious goal. Are we trying to upstage the Chinese herbal medicine, which has gone through a lot of processes and cleansing and then can then be sold anywhere in the world? Are we trying to upstage Ayurvedic medicine in India, which has also gone through those processes, regulation and everything, so that it can actually be consumed by any other person around the world? So then these are the conversations we need to actually raise up. It's not just everybody putting all sort of that this is my great grandfather used to do it, then I have to do it that way. There's so many things our great grandfather used to do that we have abandoned with knowledge. I don't know why we got so stuck with this herbal concoction and the way to prepare it, and then the way to dispense it in a world where we are seeing the involvement of germs, mutation of germs, which can then find its way into some of those drinks, and we don't know what it's going to do for us. And we've seen a lot of germs, entering human being and causing more damages. So chemicals, germs, all those things are actually one of our great issues. You want to do herbal concoction, standardize.
So what then do we now do, to have this Agbo or concoction being regulated? from your analysis and your thoughts, it's like, we're not really there. So everyone, puts out anything and anyhow, and people just get to buy it. And of course, there's also a lot of belief with traditional medicine. So that's passing. What do we now then do to ensure that we have all of this in control, regulated?
Yeah, take it from me. You cannot remove belief from traditional medicine. If anybody is trying to do that, it's wasting his time. Because in reality, it affords some level of population to assess their own understanding of healthcare, and then you cannot take that away. Now, I remember Lagos State, for instance, used to have a board for regulating traditional medicines. We have such boards both locally and nationally, both in states and national things. So we need to, strengthen that board, bring people inside, and then after strengthening the board, we need to actually do a proper training for production of those herbs. Okay, you must have a mini factory that will ensure that the condition of the factory is okay, the temperature is okay, the sanitation is okay, infection prevention in those tiny factory. You can even put it in your house or your room, but it has to be a separate place. Then the container becomes an issue. You cannot just pick a container, a PET bottle container, or a container of water bottle, then wash it with soap, and then start stocking leaves into it for people to drink. Of course, soap is not supposed to enter into human body, but again, there should be standard. We should help these people to standardize it. We're not saying that you shouldn't do that, but let's help them to standardize it. And that work should start from the state's traditional medicine regulatory board. That's where it should start. Now, of course, we want to be able to find a cooperation between the traditional people and the orthodox people, the pharmaceutical company. There are people that are involved in phytopharmaceuticals, the pharmaceuticals of plants and all those things. You should bring them together and say that, listen, we know this and this and this are the, and then provide measurement, provide concentration, provide expiry dates, a kind of labeling like that. That is the kind of thing that will assure that people will look at you and say, what, you've done very well. I know that even at the level of NAFDAC, they're still having challenges trying to analyze and assay a lot of these herbal products. Now we need to strengthen that up and then ensure that we provide something that will be healthy. We can't be poisoning our people in the name that we're of sticking to our traditional system. I think we need to do something, and this is the high time.
Interesting. We hear there are 5. From my findings, there are 5. And please correct me if I'm wrong. 5, up to 5 popular types of Agbo in circulation. We have Agbo Iba for malaria, Agbo Iba Ponto, or Agbo Ijede for typhoid fever.
Wow.
Did I mention it well? We have Agbo Jedi for dysentery. That's one I've seen before, Agbo Jedi.
And that's very common.
It's very common, Mercy. I think there's one in the corner of one of the cabinets at home I came across recently. We have Agbo Arariro for body aches. I think I need that. We have Agbo Atusi, which is the Agbo Atusi is the one that I'm sure a director this morning, Onoja, should be interested in, because no, not that one. We hear this; it gives you a lot of firepower. You know what I'm saying? A lot of firepower. So in fact, yesterday someone told me he has one. He was trying to tell me he has one, and if he gives me, he says if he gives me, yeah. My wife will
tell you what, a lot of these guys are not being honest. They put a lot of aphrodisiacs inside some of these Agbo. They grind it and put it inside, and then I'll try to claim that they are doing Agbo power. In reality, they are putting higher doses of some drugs, sildenafil, into those things. Normally, sildenafils are just drugs you use for erectile dysfunction. They will grind this thing and put it inside those things and do a mixture of all those things and put inside and tell you that they are giving you Agbo. We need to be, I think that's the point where we need to be careful. Now, if you are saying you are treating typhoid, you must have diagnosed typhoid before you say you are giving Agbo typhoid now. Okay? Then, where is the study that shows that this actually works in that regard? It may not, the account of story may not be as scientific as our own, but there must be an evidence, That's how the world is now. You cannot just push anything on anybody without evidence. Now, if you are, what is JD? That's another. There are challenges of nomenclature. You get what I'm talking. If you cannot tell me that yes, this is typhoid. What is your own typhoid? Okay, is it the same symptomatology like my own? Is it caused by the same salmonella typhoid or paratyphoid? So there are challenges of nomenclature first and foremost. If you say JD, is that JD to me? If you say Okpayin, is that Okpayin to me? Because if you are telling about Okpayin, and that's the bone ache or your backbone pain, there are a lot of things that could cause backbone ache, as far as I'm concerned. And their treatment could be as different as the number of backache you have. So now, why will you not present one drug that will cure backache due to maybe metastasis, slip disc, or osteoarthritis? There are different things that will cause that backache, or sprain. So, but for them, when you say you have backache, that's a pain, and then you provide the Agbo for you. But what exactly is causing their own pain? So I think we need to deepen the conversation. As much as we want to, we should have elevated our Agbo to that level where it can be trusted, not just in Nigeria, but anywhere in the world. We have those herbs, but we're not elevating this thing. And then the challenge is still our level of education, our level of training, our level of science, and scientific endeavor. Once we strengthen that, we partner. Of course, we have a lot of universities in Nigeria that can take this as a challenge and look at it and listen. How do we now start standardizing, this Agbo and looking at them and then looking at that? If your own backache is because you have metastasis from prostate cancer, then this Agbo will not work for you. This one will work for you. If your own this is from slip disc, this Agbo may work for you, it won't work for you. But how can you give me an Agbo that will do all those things for me? How do you want me to flow with that kind of thinking?
So I remember that, when there was COVID, there were conversations around, Nigeria. There were conversations around, we upping the game and looking for, herbal cure to our problems. To the problem, because we can't constantly depend on the West for all of our solutions. And so I'd like to ask, why haven't we also taught in this direction, the things that you're saying? Because it feels like we haven't, been thinking about this, like organizing local and traditional medicine.
Well, very valid conversation that we shouldn't always be dependent on West for our solution, whether technology, whether to build rail, whether health system, whether even the narrations, the culture, what should be grabbing the public space. We shouldn't be dependent on the West for our solution. There are local things to us which we must really address, okay? But you see, you don't do that by magical thinking. You don't do that by promoting, fanciful theories. There are processes into all these things if we want to actually make that change we so desire, okay? Now, we said COVID-19. First and foremost, do we have the capacity actually to research on COVID? You need about three laboratories, first and foremost. Do these local people have the capacity to protect the COVID from jumping to them while they are doing the research? It's a very high-level science, okay? Now, the approach of the local people will actually be to actually look for things that can strengthen the immune system and be able to prevent the bad manifestation of the COVID. But do they even have the capacity to even collaborate? And that's another thing. We're not trusting ourselves enough. Collaborate and say, okay, wait a minute. We are doing the local thing. We know the University of Lagos is doing this and that. Let's collaborate with their pharmaceutical and medical department and see what is possible in this regard and that regard. Let's see, how do they even go through their processes? But what we want to do is some magical thinking. I feel that, it was revealed to me in a dream. My grandmother used to see that kind of thing. Joseph stopped dreaming thousands of years ago now. Even Bible told us that dream has ended. So, you have to really interrogate how all these things came to be. And for now, after the COVID, after the lie, after the noise and those things, after we have spent a lot of time, re-educating, countering false narratives in the public space about COVID, everybody kept quiet. We're not even doing anything about that issue again. Nobody's doing anything about that issue of COVID, you understand, and herbal products. So here we are. Not, in fact, the simplest malaria that is afflicting us, we still have to rely on a drug manufacturer, research done in UK, drug manufacturer in India and China to deal with our malaria.
All right. All right. Doc, very quickly, this issue or this alert that has been issued by the NDLEA, National Drug Law Enforcement Agency, over fentanyl, which they say is 100 times more potent or stronger than a tramadol. They are plans by some unscrupulous persons, like they describe them, to introduce this to the Nigerian market. What are your thoughts on this?
I can assure you, my brother, that already there's fentanyl in the Nigerian market. I can assure you there's fentanyl in the Nigerian market.
What is fentanyl? Yes.
Fentanyl is an opioid derivative. It's a synthetic opioid. You know, oxycodone, codeine, and all those things. Codeine, morphine, heroin, they are all opioids. But this one is synthetic. You know, it's manufactured. And the thing is that there are two types of those. There's one that is pharmaceutically manufactured, you know, under a strict control pharmaceutical thing, and most of the time used to treat severe pain in cancer patients, in people with severe pain, end of life thing to make this, you know, that's what we use fentanyl for. But there are also illicit manufactured fentanyl, okay? And then this illicit manufactured fentanyl finds its way into the market where the dark, you know, the dark pharmaceuticals, you know, the dark side, the dark money, they grab it, turn it to spray, turn it to powder, turn it to, you know, liquid, and then use it to lace a lot of other drugs that are being used. Nigeria having 14.4% drug abuse level, you know, prevalence. And then in the next few years, it's going to be up to, you know, 20%. We're going to have about 20 million youth, poor, jobless people on drugs. You know, this fentanyl can be used to lace cocaine, can be used to lace their heroin, can be used to mix with amphetamine, can be put on cannabis. And this drug has a very low safety profile, that before you know it, toxicity is very, very, very common. And sufficiently, we're battling with all sorts of drugs. In fact, Nigeria is a combo of drugs. We're battling with combo of drugs. You know, I can assure you that what's it called? Psilocybin is in Nigeria. All sorts of mixtures are in Nigeria. Youth are using those things, and then they are now bringing fentanyl. Fentanyl is killing a minimum of 150 people every blessed day in America. Colorado is shouting. That's now a national epidemic and very embarrassing. Now, it's in Nigeria already, and then of course, let's assure that because of the money, about 2 billion involved in this dark market, the thing will enter Nigeria. They will use it to lace drugs, and we'll be faced with the problems. We don't have health system. We don't have something to respond to it. The psychology, we don't have psychiatrists. You know, the best thing is for us to wake up and start recognizing the early effects of what are the signs of fentanyl overdose, and what people can do about it.
We have to leave with that, sir. I want to thank you so much for your time. It's very harrowing, you know, what you've said about the effects of this fentanyl and the fact that it may already be in the Nigerian market. It's really a dire situation. I think we need Marwa to do more. He's already doing a good job, but I'm sure you agree that more needs to be done. Thank you so much. Dr. Tuyi Mebawondu, nice having you this morning. I look forward to having you again. All right, fantastic. We have more discussions ahead, Mercy.
Definitely, we take a break, and when we return, we'll be looking at our second conversation right here. Please stay with us.